Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I thought I would share with you three little mini trifold journals that I've just completed. When I made 10 last month, it was kind of a mini Jessica Wrap challenge for me. I'm such a slow crafter or journaler that I decided I would see if I could be Jessica Wrap and make 10 in a month. I know Jessica makes a lot more, but I set myself a challenge of making 10 and managed to complete 10 in the month. And I was delighted how quickly they sold. I did not have any intention of making any more, but one or two people got in contact with me to say how disappointed and or frustrated they were when they watched the videos and went over to my Etsy shop and found that the little minis had all gone. I am so sorry. I can completely empathise with you how frustrating it is when that happens. I can't tell you the number of times that I have watched a YouTube video, dived over to somebody's Etsy shop to find exactly the same thing, that the journal has gone. And there's one particular artist who I don't seem to stand a cat and hell's chance of getting hold of one of her lovely, lovely journals. Partly because I'm not quick enough, and partly I think due to the time difference between here and the here in Canada. Anyway, enough of that. I can actually empathise with you hugely. So what I did say to those ladies that had reached out to me was that I would make some more and I would reserve some for them. The number that I could make was dictated very much by the covers, because for the covers I used the cradles out of my lateral filing cabinet. I use that cabinet to store all my papers and cardstock, and I had 7 spare cradles, new cradles that I hadn't used. They were waiting in the wings or in my stash in case there was an accident and I needed to replace one out of my cabinet. So because I had 7, it actually meant that I could make 14 of these little minis. As I say, some of them have already been reserved, and I have a few more in the pipeline. So what I intend to do is, as I finish them over the next couple of weeks, I will put them up on my YouTube channel, and I will tell you when they are going in the Etsy shop. So I'm kind of thinking that with that drip release, you stand a little bit more chance of getting your hands on one, if rather than putting them all on in one go. So I have these 3 which will go in my Etsy shop tomorrow. That's Friday the 8th of November. And I have another 10 in the pipeline. Well, I actually have 11, but I'm keeping one for myself. And then after that, I won't be making any more of these little trifold minis, because I actually like making one-off journals. And I did have 2 in mind for one for a very special someone at Christmas, and the other one a personal one, an heirloom lace journal for myself. So I'm champing at the bit to get back to making those. So enough of that, let me take you through these 3 little minis. This one is called Yellow Tiger Butterfly Journal, because it's a yellow tiger swallowtail butterfly on the front. This one here is called Peacock Butterfly, because that's a peacock butterfly on the front, and this one is called Snowcap because it's got a snowcap mushroom on the front. This one is mushroom themed. These 2 are butterfly themed. All the journals measure 4 inches by 5 3/4, and they all have 68 pages in. They all have a sari silk closure, which is threaded through an eyelet on the front cover. The covers are wraparound covers. They're collaged, they're stitched, they're inked. They all have at least 2 coats of Ranger Multi Matte Medium to seal all the collaging. and the collaging is a mixture of vintage French ledger paper, vocab paper, music paper, Bismarck book paper, and some contemporary paper. So let's take you inside. On this one, they're all slightly different inside, although they all have the same pocket structure or cover structure. What's included in each one is different. They all vary. So on this one, there is a fabric cluster with some lace and some eyelash trim and a vintage button. All the tags, journaling cards, have tea-stained paper on the back. Some may well have details on the back like stamping or a postage stamp. This one's got lace. They will all be stitched. Some will have sari silk at the top, some won't. So we have a little bit of collaging here with a postage stamp on. There's some fussy cutting on here with a vintage postage stamp at the bottom. Most of the pages, if not all the pages, I would say probably about 98%, 95% of the pages are stitched around the outside. Some tea stain paper, some German script on some washi tape. This is a vintage cigarette card backed onto some of that German Bismarck paper. This is some tea stained ledger paper stitched at the top. Some of the pages have been stitched all the way round. Sometimes it will be just a decorative feature in a corner. So there's a little bit of lace there with all my buttons are mother of pearl buttons because I just like using them, and they're all vintage ones. Used postage stamp. This is painter's masking paper, double thickness, which has been stitched. I always do a double thickness of this and stitch it together, because if I do a single thickness on my machine, it gets all scrunched up and it really eats it up basically. So I tend to do a double thickness. I love using this in journals. I just like sewing it. It's such fun, very versatile. So we have a stitch gassine bag here with a vintage tea card behind, or cigarette card behind. This one will come out. There's some lace in there, so it's tucked in there. I won't get it out. This is a lace pocket with collaging behind, and this is journaling card. Tuck spot there. This is piano roll paper. Another tag with a stamp on the back. Some layering or collaging there. Edith Holden paper. Some Chinese book text. Some more fussy cutting up there. Ranger washi tape. Then this is a botanical page with some Chinese. Don't know my languages. Some Chinese book page there. Then we have this little tuck spot, and it's secured with an eyelet so it doesn't come out. We have a little flip there, and this is some music paper. I love using this music paper because it's the right size for this size of journal, I find. So I love it when I can find that and get hold of it. Postage stamp there. More layering there, bit of washi stitching. This is one of my lace collages with some beads, seed beads at the top. And I tried to go for green to tie in with the inside cover of this little journal. Some Bismarck paper on this Ranger vellum, again stitched. This is a vintage receipt, and I love it. I've got a whole book of this. And it is local to me. Colne is about an hour and a half or an hour up the road, so it's not far. But this is a receipt book for a gentleman, Albert Ibsen, that makes boots and shoes and does clogs. And it says here, new clogs made to order. So I think that's just lovely. And there's two parts to this receipt book. There is the customer copy, which this bit is, which will be filled out, and then the business copy, which is a finer, more delicate paper with the same number on it, and they would have put a piece of carbon paper in between the two, written on here, given the customer this copy, and then obviously the carbonised sheet would have been retained by the business for their accounting purposes. So I love using both of those, and I use both of them in my journals. Here I've stitched on some acetate wings, just to add a bit of interest to the page. I've done a line of vintage postage stamps down there. This is obviously some sari silk, and I've made, this is just clipped in with a paper clip. So if I can get that off, oops, doesn't want to come off. There we go. This is a tag that I've made with a stitched glassine pocket. Little T card there. And then a journaling spot behind. And some washi, some fussy cutting, another little tag which is just held in place with a Ranger paper clip. This is a Ready Reckoner, vintage Ready Reckoner page, and I've sewn onto it a glassine envelope and made a little, if I can get that up to the camera. Ooh, there we go. So it's got lace and sari silk, and it's been stitched. The glassine envelope has been stitched. There's collaging here with sari silk, fussy cutting, a little bit of lace, eyelash trim, and then this lovely little miniature tag that just goes in the front pocket. Over the page, another T card. Then I included this image because I just think that's an amazing, how vibrant is that? It's really, it came out of a butterfly book, but I just loved it so much, I just had to include it in. And I've used one of those, the top of one of those receipts for the clog maker to back it with, and it's, as you can see, been stitched. So there's a pocket there, and then there's a little tuck spot at the bottom there, and there's a little playing card, and I've made this little tag using some indenture paper. And another vintage postage stamp, a little bit of layering, one of Tracy Fox's printable labels. Over the page, a bit of layering with lace, Tracy's labels, vintage postage stamps, some muslin. So here I've made a postcard, again with some stitched on wings. I don't know if you can see the wings on that. If I hold it up to the camera, there you are, it's just catching the light there. And then if you flip it over, so that goes in that pocket. Another tag and some book page from a butterfly, vintage butterfly book. Flipping it over, another tag here. Edith Holden paper scrap, and another little homemade playing card. Some collaging with painter's masking paper, washi tape, stamp on the Ready Reckoner. Here I've put botanical print on both sides, and here, I don't know if you can pick up, is a little hidden flap, which if I take the paper clip away and turn it over, you will see that it is a tiny, tiny little envelope, and inside I've included a little scrap of paper that goes in there. Just holds another scrap of paper, and then another tag, and that just sits on there and held in place with the paper clip. This is a page that pulls out, and I've done some fussy cutting on that butterfly there. Just opens out. There's some note paper that I've just popped in there that you can journal on. This is some protective photo paper from an old photo album. This is a tuck spot, so that's a tag that I've made, some washi, and then this is just a little flip with a fussy cut butterfly and a Ranger paper clip. This is a tuck spot here as well. In here, this is the back of the receipt that I folded over and made a pocket, and what I've done is I've included in here some vintage notebook paper. It's been written on in pencil, so I thought maybe if you wanted to you could use it for your own collaging, but there's a blank page there as well, so that just goes in that pocket there. This is a little flip, so that opens up, that opens down, and it's just a little secret spot for writing, and there's a little tab on the front that it tucks under and secures. Ranger vellum, some collaging there, some more collaging. Again, this flips out, and what I've done here is, I think this is a Jibineri idea. I have done a cutout, I'm not sure if you can see, and there's a tiny little leaf trapped in there. There's a pocket here with journaling spot there, Chinese book page, some layering fussy cutting there. There's a glassine envelope here with some collaging on, and I've included some stamps and some flashcards inside. Some more of that printer's masking paper here. This is a journaling card with a curly paper clip, die cut with a little bit of washi there, remnant rub on. This is a book page that just wraps round, and it's a journaling spot, and there's a bit of information that, so I didn't tea stain or tea dye this paper. It was the front cover from a book which I thought was quite interesting. So there's some numbers, numerals written there, and then it says that it's W.R. Banks Library in Texas, Prairie View, Texas. So not sure which book that came out of actually, and that just wraps around this bit of this ledger paper. Curly paper clip. Not sure who did those curly paper clips first, but they're great, I love them. There's a bit of stitching at the bottom of this ledger paper, and I've just left some tails. Here I've got a vellum pocket, and this is a little piece of paper that I've tucked in there that just folds like that. Nothing on it, except if you notice the number 130, and this is that business copy of the receipt, the clogs receipt paper that I was talking about earlier. So they would have had carbonised writing on that if it had been used. And then this is the last page. There's a stamp there, but it is a little tuck spot behind. This is a little envelope that I've made of book pages, and inside there are some French flashcards which go in there, and it just wraps round like so. This is some beautiful paper that I couldn't resist putting in, because I just thought it's plain on the back, but it has been inked. So that goes in there. And then this is my final tag, which just needs straightening out a little bit. And I don't know if you can see, I've used glossy accents on the top and the bottom butterfly, some sari silk, a B letter tied to the sari silk, and tea stained on the back, and more collaging there. So that is the Yellow Tiger Swallow-tailed Butterfly Journal. This one is the other butterfly journal. The cover is exactly the same. And that's a piece of ephemera, a bit of a letter that says 20th November 1928. And then going inside, I think that's a Red Admiral butterfly. So we have a tag here with a fussy cut butterfly. Again, same number of pages, same tea stained paper, and same stitching. Bit of lace on the side of this one. This one flips out, and again I've done the same fussy cutting there. A little bit of a notepad there. Then some botanical edging to the page. Glassine envelope here with another tag in. Same as the other one. A couple of flashcards, English ones this time. Same layering here, lace, sari silk and eyelash trim. This is a vintage ticket with a postage stamp, and this is a tuck spot if you want to use it as such. This is a vellum page, flips out. Glassine envelope with some more tickets inside. This page flips out, but because of the paper clip there, it's not flipping out at the moment, but it does do. And this is the tag that I made. Again, fussy cut butterfly on that. Here's my lace cluster with a few beads. Another lace pocket with a tag. Again, the wings on the receipt. This is another one of those fold out journaling spots. This one's actually secured into the journal with a little bit of Chinese book page, fussy cut butterfly up there, bit of lace, a little tag, and there's also some lace embellishment at the top there. This is botanical edge to the page, and another one of those little tiny mini envelopes. Oops, does help if you take the paper clip off. Bit of collaging on the back, and there's a little bit of vintage letter inside, so that just goes on the top there, but I won't put that on just yet because this is a vellum flip, and then when you move the flip out, there's some vintage pages here that I've included, so that's like a little hidden journaling spot there, and then that just goes on the top, secured in place with the paper clip. Collaging using painter's masking paper. Another glassine envelope with a vintage tea card in, lace trim at the bottom, protective photo paper, Edith Holden paper, is a pocket there. Nothing in this one. Corner tuck spot with some encyclopedia paper about butterflies. Held in place with an eyelet, but it is glued. Some layering here with some parchment paper on the top. Postage stamps. Again, more of this vintage Ready Reckoner book page. Collaging on both corners here. So the tag with a little tuck spot there. Another tuck spot here. This is under there. Vintage bus ticket, and this is just a fabric cluster. Another tag with some lace. Little tag there, backed with some vintage lettering, letter paper. Another one of those postcards that I made, and again with dimensional wings on it. This is a book page from a butterfly book, and I've backed it with vintage letter and done a bit of collaging on the top as well. I never seem to say that word, collaging. If I say it enough times, I'm sure I'll get it right. Another little tag that I've made using some indenture paper. This indenture paper actually came from my old title deeds when my house was, when I got the mortgage to my house all paid off. I got the title deeds, and in England we have documents called land certificates when you get your house or your mortgage all paid off, and the old title deeds, the old indentures and conveyance documents, they're irrelevant because you now have a land certificate. So I chopped them up and started to use them in my journals. But make sure you know what you're doing before you decide to do that. My background's legal, so I do know what I'm doing. It wasn't a risk. So this was a homemade playing card. It's a journaling card. More collaging. A flip up with a little bit of lace. This is a tuck spot, and then some more of those acetate wings. Tuck spot here, and there's a little bit of vintage letter behind. Some more fussy cutting here. Pages edged with botanical book pages. That's a flip out with some collaging behind. Edith Holden paper there. Photo paper. Love this paper, love the sound of it. There's a tag here that I've made. A little bit of collaging on it. Do you know, I'm hooked on collaging now. I love doing it. Just can't say the word. This is the backing paper here is piano roll paper. Some more collaging there. And there. This is another one of those pockets with some more of that notebook paper. Exactly the same as in the other journal, so I'm not going to get it out. More collaging there. This is that note paper, same as in the other one, but I've just stuck it into this one. So it's a journaling spot, and it's just secured with a normal paper clip. Die cut. Because I moved the paper clip, this has come unstuck, and this is another one of those book page envelopes that I've made with a little ceramic bead on it at the end of the thread, vintage button, and inside you've got the two little French flash cards, same as in the other one. This is a flip out, and again same as the other one, with a leaf trapped in the book page. Vellum pocket here. Ooh. Bit of the receipt page. You can always tell those because they've got the number on. Butterfly page. This time I've made it into a tuck spot there, or a little pocket rather. Ledger paper. I didn't fill all the pockets because as you can see, it's getting quite a chunky monkey for a single signature notebook. So also I thought you might like to put your own bits and bobs inside as well. Some ledger paper, and then in the back a big tag with some more of those acetate wings on, and backed with tea stain paper and stitched. You will notice in this one, unlike the other one, this journal, unlike the other journal, I have not put any sari silk on any of the tags. When this journal is sold, whoever has it will have some lengths of this sari silk, which they can use if they wish to tie round the tags. I didn't do it on this particular one because I just thought that it would be nice for you to decide whether or not you wanted your sari silk to be on the tabs or not. So that is the second journal. And moving on, Peacock Butterfly Journal, and then moving swiftly on, this is Snowcap. So this is the mushroom themed journal, and this is the cover. And turning it over, there we go. So these covers are a little bit stiff at the moment because they just need to be broken in a little bit. In this pocket I've put a blank library card. I thought you might like to put your own information in it or on it. A bit of the fabric cluster, a bit of lace trim. This is a flip out vellum pocket with a journaling card. In this journal I have used Artsology Design Studio or Studio Design DigiKit, and also some of Artie May's. I'm not quite sure which is which, but they are both equally gorgeous. So a shout out to those for the use of their DigiKits. This is a little fabric flip with some raw silk behind, and then this is some rusted linen fabric that I've stamped on the top of and stitched it in. Some Chinese page with some collaging on the opposite page with some notebook paper. This is an Observer Book of Mushrooms pocket with a tag, and this is some raw silk. I think this one was Artsology, and it was perfect because it matched this and also the ledger paper, so that's been stitched onto the page. Another one of those Gassine envelopes with a tag inside, 2 flashcards, and the lace and sari and eyelash trim. This was some packaging which had mushrooms on, which I loved, so I thought I would use it for this journal, and I've done a bit of stamping on the back, and that's another piece of the packaging on there. So, and this is some more Artsology, if I remember right. There's a sticker with some lace down here. This is Tim Holtz vellum with some lace down the side. There's that famous receipt. This is a die cut with some music paper behind, matching washi and stitching, botanical page to edge it with, and to match on this side, and some layering there. This is an Artsology tag, I think, and this is a tuck spot which I've backed with some of that Bismarck German book page. Edith Holden with some stickers on, and I've left this edge raw. I quite like the organic look of it, so I've left it raw. And that's just stitched onto the page. Guess what this is? It's the paper, masking paper again, painter's masking paper. This is a magnetised bookmark. I think these are Artie May's DigiKit prints of tickets, which I've backed with some tea-stained Chinese paper, put some washi there, and raw silk here, which I've stitched. There's a magnet in it, and it just sits on top of the page like so. Lace with a little bead, safety pin at the top, a bit of lace at the bottom here, piano paper there, photo paper, observer book of mushrooms. This is a pocket with sari silk. Love these little beads. I think they're 8-sided beads, octagonal beads, and when you flip them over, one side has this like aqua green and the other side is brown. Absolutely lovely. There's some blue sari there, or bluey grey sari silk, to kind of pick up the blues in this journaling card. That goes in the side pocket there. Ready Reckoner page, little tag here. Some lace at the bottom, down here. This is a little tuck spot down there with 2 little cards in. This is a little tuck spot just here. Another one of those bookmarks. This is a page or a piece of my French vintage ledger. So it's a massive piece, but it's really, really fine. It's a blank piece. And just be careful at the top, because there's, if I flip it over, you can see there's a little number there that sticks out, and I've just folded it in just to protect it for the time being whilst it's in the journal. So I thought you might like that, so I've just tucked that in there. Then these 2 pages are double pages from the Observer book of fungi and mushrooms. There's a couple of journaling cards there. Another one there, and these are homemade playing cards, and this is a little glued in card with a couple of vintage buttons on a jump ring. It doesn't come out, it's glued on. These are, I think these were Artie May's tickets from one of her kits, and you've heard of flip outs and flip ups. Well, this one's a flip down. You could put a bit of paper in there if you wanted it as a journaling spot. I've just left them in there. It does sit nice and closed when the book's shut. You could hold it closed with a paper clip if it was bothering you. This is some vellum that I think from Artie May's kits that I've DigiKit that I've printed on in vellum, and it was just so that you can see the vintage Ready Reckoner page behind, which I thought was quite fascinating. So, more stamps, glassine envelope that I've made with a flash card in it, bit of collaging, another journaling card there. This is one of those little journaling spots in a wraparound card, made to look like a wraparound card, and it just goes over that brown paper page. Edith Holden. Look at those lovely mushrooms, aren't they beautiful? And I've done a little zoology, no, I think it's artsology, sorry, not zoology, artsology image there that I've printed out to a smaller scale. A sticker there, music page with some botanical This is a flip out with a journaling card in it, and this is a vellum pocket, but it's glued in, and that flips out like that. Vellum page. This is a little floating pocket that I've made, just held in place with a paper clip, and there's like a little dangle on the side of it. When you turn it over, there's a tiny pocket with a little piece of French ephemera inside, just a tiny little scrap of paper that you can either leave in there or perhaps use for some collaging, as you will. And that just clips onto that page with a paper clip. Ledger paper with, I put some Edith Holden paper on it to make a pocket, and this is an old computer punch card, which I thought might be nice to include. I've not done anything with it, so that you can play with that as you will. Makes nice backing for cards and things like that, or tags. So there's a vintage stamp there, layering with some book page there. This is a tag that I've made from book pages, botanical book pages, and there's a Will's cigarette card in that glassine envelope. And that just goes on the back there. Oh, in fact, I'll take that off because I'd like to show you this. So if I just pop that to one side. Here, this is a pocket, side pocket, with a collaged journaling card. There is also a pocket there, and there is also a pocket on this side here. So nothing in those, again, because this journal was getting very chunky, but that's just to point out that those two bits are there. I'll just put this back in place. And on the back there is just two pockets with another journaling card. This is a couple of pages from my vintage mushroom book. They go in the back pocket, like so. Love this book page image. It's beautiful. Look at that tiny little mushroom in the corner and some mushrooms growing up the tree there, but oh, just lovely. Thought that was so nice. And then finally, in the back pocket there is another tag, and this book page matches the book page at the front. It was from the same page actually, although it doesn't look very similar, but it was all one big piece that I chopped down. Did some collaging, a bit of vintage lace, and I've stitched it. But on the back I've used one of those computer punch cards as my backing, and I've just done a little layering with some masking tape and some stamping. So that just goes in the back pocket. So thank you very much for watching. Those are my three little journals. Let me just tie this one up. As I say, these will be going in my shop tomorrow, and I do have some more in the pipeline. I have, as I say, I have 11, of which 10 will be available. This is the next one that will be going into my shop. This is a botanical themed one. She's almost finished. I just need to put the inclusions in, the pockets and the tags and things like that. So this one will be going in early on next week, along with probably another 2 more, depending on how well I get on. I'm doing a bit of a don't know if you can see a Jessica wrap type thing here. I have a tray with all my journals ready to go. These are my covers at the back here, which want decorating, and then these are the journals. I don't know if you can see the signatures ready to go inside, with a few bits of ephemera and whatever that I've put to one side relevant for each journal. So there are 3 bird journals, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 botanical journals, and then this one here. This one here is mine. On this side of my tray, if I can get it in frame, these are some of the pieces that I've made. Some floating pockets, some tags. I have Bishop trying to do a Leo here, so I'm just trying to, no, stay there, sweet pea, stay there, stay there. These are some tags, book page tags. These are some more tags. These are the wraparounds. Some observer book page tags. There's some of my masking paper and some of my stitch gassine envelopes ready for decorating. My envelopes ready for decorating. Some index cards and some fabrics here at the back ready for doing some tip-ins. And then here at the front I've got some of my little clusters ready to go in, some little neutral coloured ones and some green ones. Here are my little lace clusters. There we go. And then in here I've got some of the little paper clips with beads on, all ready to go. So I'm fairly well prepared with these. I'm definitely doing a Jessica on a much smaller scale. I take my hat off to her. I don't know how she manages to do so many of her journals every month. But I will, as I say, drip feed those over the next couple of weeks into my Etsy shop for people to buy. And I hope, if you were disappointed last time, that this time you have a little bit more luck if you are interested in purchasing one of these. But if not, thank you so much for spending time with me this afternoon and indulging me whilst I showed my little minis to you. Thank you so much for all your kind comments and support. It really, really does mean a lot to me, and I've so enjoyed being on YouTube. I know it's only been a couple of months, but I have so enjoyed being on YouTube and sharing my journals with you. So I've taken up enough of your time today. Thank you for bearing with me. I hope you like these little mini journals, and hopefully I will see you early on next week with a few more. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Bye bye now. Bye.